Hello, this is Wmpyr, here to talk about martial arts training and your path in martial arts. So, something that I've been thinking about more and more, very, very strongly, is, and this is nothing new on my YouTube channel. I've been thinking about this for many years now, but the whole idea of style versus style, you know. And I think maybe there's a lot of people that don't understand that that is the way that they're thinking. So the moment you're like looking for the best style, or even if you say a style that's best for you, um, the moment you start thinking that way, that is a style versus style mentality. You're basically looking for something that's one is better than the other. So that one style versus the other style, so it goes into that mentality, and you go, well, if you think about purpose, like one style, like, for example, what's the best style when it comes to kicking, what's the best style when it comes to punching, or whatever. Even when you start thinking like that, it's still a style versus style case. Capoeira has kicks, Muay Thai has kicks, Taekwondo has kicks, Savate has kicks. All of those have great kicks. Which is the best style? Which is the best kicking style? It's a style versus style argument, and I really, really think this is pointless more than ever. More than ever. I used to tell you guys that this is a dinosaur way of thinking, and honestly, I feel like it's unavoidable if you get into martial arts, and maybe as a beginner, you're going to do it, and that's fine. And, we have eighth grade level fantasies, like a fantasy that an eighth grader would have. Like, this guy's messing with my girl at the bar, and I, stand up to him, and before he tries to do something sneaky, I knock him out, and I go home with a girl, so something like that, the eighth grade fantasy, right? Or in a street situation, there's three guys, they're armed, and they're trying to do harm to me, and I fight them off, and I could have done worse, but I didn't hurt them more than necessary, and I came home safe and sound. Eighth grade fantasy, and by that, I'm not saying that those things aren't possible, but thinking about it like that is an eighth grade fantasy mindset. And style versus style is an eighth grade fantasy mindset. At that time in eighth grade, I was super into Street Fighter 2, the video game. That's style versus style, that video game, And what I'm trying to say is, you want to leave that behind. You want to mature out of that. If someone messes with me, I'm pulling out a karambit, eighth grade fantasy. This is the level that we need to graduate, okay? And also what fits in here is the idea, because style comes down to, it's a tool. And we could say the same about techniques. Techniques are tools. So what about this technique? What about that technique? What's the better technique? Oh, this technique failed, Oh, we're light sparring right now, or we're sparring right now and it failed. Therefore, this technique doesn't work. This is all, to me, this goes back to the same style versus style. You're comparing, and comparing like that, this is not the way to go. And you're judging. And this is way off the martial path. As a human being, this is negative, and this is not good spiritually, morally, ethically. This is the wrong way, in my opinion. And the way that I see it is, instead of, because if you go to style versus style, you're really thinking, like I said, capoeira, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, Savat. They all have wonderful kicks. Okay, which is the best kicking style? It's comparing. And why do we have to go to that? That is a consumer mentality. I need to pick the best product. Why can't we go to, no matter which style it is, they all do kicks. So any one of those styles would be fine. Why can't I learn it as best as I can to where I become good at kicks? Why don't we have that mentality? That is a much more mature mentality. Regardless of the style, I really like kicks. I want to develop my kicking skills. So, regardless of style, I want to focus on kicks, and I'll do the best that I can to become good at them. That's a great mentality. Why can't we have that instead of I need to pick which one is better? Savat, they kick with boots, man. Taekwondo, they have like a large variety of kicks, from high kicks, middle kicks, low kicks, axe kicks, spinning kicks, jumping kicks, flying kicks. Muay Thai kicks, powerful kicks. These are really, really effective. Who cares if there's a lot of kicks? Muay Thai kicks are powerful. They condition your shins. We could argue about this all day and night, and you're wasting time. You're wasting time. Just shut up and go pick one. It doesn't even matter. Just practice one. Start practicing. That's what's important. Put in the time, the effort, practice. That's what's important, and keep evolving. Keep working on it. Talking about it did no one any good. Just thinking about it, talking about it. No, you got to do it at the end of the day. And fortunately, there is no wrong answer there, style-wise, because it's really not that important. It really isn't. What's way more important is the teacher, the classmates, the learning environment. Are you going to be in a good learning environment? If the teacher's a jerk, no. If the students there, your classmates, they're bullies, then no. It's not a good learning environment. So I don't care if, somehow scientifically we're able to figure out, let's say they find out that capoeira is the best kicking style, scientifically. let's just say, okay. If the teacher and the students are toxic, it's horrible, So then at that point, if you went to the second best kicking style, but they have a better learning environment, wouldn't that be better? And does it matter if it's the third best kicking style or the fourth? This is ridiculous, guys. Ridiculous. Okay. So, really, you have to let that go. And so many people have trouble letting it go. They go, no. Yeah. I get it. Okay, but what if I'm in this situation? What's the best style for that? There's got to be something that makes more sense than another style. Let it go. Drop it. Free yourself from that limited way of thinking. It's an 8th grade fantasy level of thinking. You gotta let it go. Just stop thinking that way and start thinking on, I'm gonna give it my all. What is the best way I could be a really good student? What is the best way for me to where I could really absorb this and become good at it? That's what you should be focusing on. Not this fantasy stuff of, did I pick the right style? Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I need to look at this school. Oh, there's another school nearby. Oh, what about this? Oh, they do this. They do more realistic tactical training. Oh, these people, shoot, they do firearm training. Let that all go. Drop it. And start thinking about how can you, regardless of style, become better at note-taking, become better at, preserving what you know, organizing your thoughts, organizing your material. If you could focus on this, you're much, much better off than looking for the best product. And this is the same with techniques. Okay, people are so into proving what technique works, what technique doesn't work. And then in training, if we spar, it's not a proving ground. It's not a proving ground. That's where the Gracies, they got it wrong. They think it's a proving ground. It's not. You got to understand. So look, you might go, whoa, what did you just say? Did you just say the Gracies were wrong? Yes, I will. I will say that they were wrong. They wanted to prove their style was the best. They're wrong. Plain and simple. They're wrong. So whatever they thought they were proving, that wasn't it, guys. That was not it. And I don't even play by their rules, but we could even go by their rules and say, is it the best grappling style? Is it the best MMA style? I don't think so. And once again, I don't think in those terms. So, but if we were to, which is wrong in my opinion, but if we were to, couldn't we say Sambo is the best? What Fedor accomplished, he was on top of the mountain, higher than any mountain, than any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy went in the world of MMA. And then as far as grappling goes, isn't catch wrestling, no, has anyone topped Josh Barnett? in Josh Barnett today. Now I know in the past when he was still developing in Abu Dhabi and stuff, he has lost, but I'm talking about in more recent times. So but once again, it's silly to be thinking about that. So I don't I was just playing devil's advocate, arguing in that perspective, just to argue in that perspective. But like I said, it's silly. It's silly to me. So I don't even think that way. Okay, I consider myself a BJJ guy anyway. So I see value in the art. I trained in it. I spent a lot of time in it, and I will use it today if necessary. Isn't that good enough? And I don't have to say that it's the best grappling style. It doesn't need to be the best grappling style. It works for me. It works for me. And in the past, it worked for me great. In the past, I mean, if I could do amateur wrestling, I would have. I was not physically good enough to do it. So, but BJJ opened its doors to me. Amateur wrestling, I tried. Judo's one that I really didn't have a good luck with at all. Every time I tried to learn judo, something bad happened to where it wasn't possible. It just fell out. And it had nothing to do with the training or any. It just didn't work out. I had opportunities, and when I saw the opportunity, I went after it, and it always, for some reason, didn't work out. Like the guy didn't show up, to cross train, or I went to the school and there was this guy that was an a-hole, had nothing to do with the class, but I just didn't want to be with this guy, so I dropped the class or whatever. It just didn't work out for me. So there's stuff like that happens. So BJJ worked out for it, just happened to work out for me. FMA, Filipino martial arts happened to work out for me. Can I say it's the best style for me? So in that perspective, I can sort of say that. It really, what it was luck. FMA, I never even went after it in the beginning because I didn't know what it was. As far as I was concerned, double sticks equals American Kempo Karate at that time. I didn't know double sticks equals FMA. No, I didn't even think that way. I saw the perfect weapon. What style is that? Shown in the movie, American Kempo Karate. They do double sticks. That's what I wanted to do, you know? So double sticks equals American Kempo Karate to me at that time. Um, so I didn't even know about FMA, but I learned FMA at that time out of sheer luck. My instructor knew it and he liked it at the time. So if I had gone to that same instructor years later, he wouldn't have even taught it. As far as I know, he doesn't teach it anymore. You know, he had a falling out with it. He doesn't like it, from what I gather. So I was at the right place at the right time for that, you know. So is it the best style for me? That's kind of silly to say, unless I've trained in every style on the planet Earth, and also including his history, because there are some styles that don't exist anymore. So unless I've done that, which is humanly impossible, then maybe I can say, yeah, this is the best style for me. But no, it's, you know, that's a silly thing to say, I think. So get away from that. Get away from styles, comparisons, and, you know, what technique works and doesn't work. That's also a comparison. So the idea of this kind of comparison is no good. So what that means is, let's go to what's the opposite of comparing. Don't compare. Just work on your own craft. You just keep doing what you do and keep working, evolve it, practice it, make it better. That's what you should be doing. If you trained in a style, you know, and someone tells you, oh, that style, that's what you do, that's not as good as Krav Maga, or that's not as good as MMA or whatever, then who cares? Work on it to make it as good as Krav Maga or BJJ or whatever, you know? Keep working on it. Make it to where it becomes really good. And then it doesn't matter. The style don't matter. The techniques don't matter, you know? You just keep working on it. And that's what's important is, okay, so then the question is, how do I work on it? That answer, in my opinion, is an interface. That is what's going to give you the knowledge and the experience and the techniques and the tactics, the strategy, is your interface. So if you have a good interface, you will go long. If you have a bad interface, you're not going to last long. A bad interface is, let's just go full contact and let's see what's up. That's the worst interface. You know, well, even worse than that is, I don't train, I just fight. You know, because that's going to end you up in, you're going to end up in jail or in the hospital. But that is the absolute word. But you go, well, that's the most realistic. True. But it's the stupidest interface. So it's the stupidest way of learning. And the one before that, in my opinion, is just, let's just full contact. Oh, you want to see if a nunchuck works against sticks? Let's just go at it. You know, this is the second dumbest. And that's why people in the past, in history, I'm sure they did it, but those were the ones that did not get passed along. And the ones that, to me, historically, the ones that made it, because they had a good interface, was choreography training. That was an excellent interface for the time being. And then, you know, there was probably a time where the next interface was full contact sparring, but let's do it with protective gear. Okay. But then even better, in my opinion, and, you know, the only reason why I say it's better is because lack of injuries. Because once again, we don't want to go into comparing. So it's really not comparing. You have to understand that I'm coming from a perspective where I did that. You know, I did the stupid way, which was I fought people. And then I said, you know what, this is not very smart. Let's actually train. So then, but at that time I didn't really understand the difference between learning and fighting. So in my training, I was full contact fighting. I was, you know, I was sparring full force. And then you start to go, well, this is not a very intelligent way of training. So then you start wearing protective gear. And then you start going, let's not spar full force. So this is a natural progression. It's not me comparing and looking at full contact sparring and me looking at, full contact sparring with protective gear and comparing this. No, this is, I did it. And then it was just, how can I do this better? Well, let's wear protective gear. It becomes less realistic. That's true. But now we can make up for that in this way or that way, or we just have to keep that in mind, or whatever. So these kinds of hits won't count, or in real life it would be a lot worse. We have to keep that in mind. This is a progression. This is the interface, right? So then from there, I kept evolving, and then partner drills was a natural evolution, and that's why I say to you guys, is partner drills, is the ultimate in a sense, But if you only do partner drills and then you compare it to full contact sparring, then once again, we're going back to comparison. We're not going to someone who got evolved into partner drills. And I'm saying that's me. And that doesn't make me special, but I'm saying is you can do it too, and that's the path you want. Not you look at partner drills and you go, that's better than full contact sparring, that's why I'm going to only do this. Then you have a guy who only does partner drills and has no idea what real life combat or what real resistance is like. So that's no good. So I hope you guys can understand what I'm saying. It's not about the comparisons. Get away from that. But it's all about the evolution, progression. And that's why, in the Asian arts, they have the way, the Tao, or in Japanese, the Do. Okay, and also Korean, I believe. So the Do, the path, that's there. And they talk about that. The path is so important. And I would say this to you guys as well. It's about the development, the path that you walk, the constant training and evolving and the progression. That's what's important, not comparing. So we need to stop the comparing. And with the comparing comes the proving ground, to prove that this is better than another, or whatever. And that's not what I'm talking about, So let's move away from that. And let's just focus on your evolution. I'm focusing on my evolution, my progression. So you do the same. And that's what I'm here to do. Not tell you, this is what I've done, this is the best, this is what I'm going to teach you because this is the best. That is the worst. That is not the way to go, So if you ever come to me, we ever meet in a private lesson, please keep that in mind, and that's what I'm doing. I am trying to help you find your path. I'm just a guide. And so I'm trying to understand you, and I'll look at what seems to be good for you, what kind of tendencies, where are your weaknesses. I'm trying to help you in that sense. I'm not here to cater to you, but I'm here to guide you and help you in that way. And I'm not here to say, no, quit what you're doing and just do it my way. No, that's not what I'm here to do. And I don't believe in that either. So anyway, it's gone long enough. This was originally supposed to be like a 10-minute video, and I've easily gone more than double. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.